Hi guys, it's your boy Ambush whatever here back with another video, and for today I'll be doing a new part of What If Deku Was an Infinite Stratus. Yes, I know you guys have been waiting for this series, so I'm giving it to you guys. So let's begin the story. We last left off when Izuku won the sports festival in UA. He after that day they actually celebrated for in their own homes and slept. The very next day it was their class, or on Monday it was their class, and they arrived in they arrived in the classroom with Hoki, Rin, Charles, Tatenashi, Kanzashi, as well as Laura and most importantly of all, the British Cecilia. Well, they arrived in class and they were waiting for their seats. Bakugo was still salty that, he didn't win against against Deku or Izuku, but that's not my book. But Izuku can smell the salt. Izuku can taste the saltiness of Bakugo to Izuku. So yeah. So eventually, a few minutes later, everybody arrived in school, and eventually class class started. And Aizawa walks into the door and says that congratulations everyone for doing your best in the sports festival, as well as with that out of the way, we are going to do the most important thing that you're going to do in your hero career, which everybody was a little bit tense and a little bit excited, except for Izuku. Izuku was very, very excited, and Aizawa just says you're going to be going to internships, which, depending on your place on the leaderboard or in the sports festival, certain heroes are going to be, certain heroes are going to be picking you to be their intern for I guess, if I remember, 2 weeks or 1 week. If I remember correctly, it was 2 weeks or 1 week, but I don't remember at all. Sorry, but it was for a week, I think. Yeah, a week. Yeah, it was for a week, and you're gonna be learning from the pro heroes of how they do things, or how they do the cases, and how to become, a future's heroes, or future heroes in the future. Which Aizawa pulls out the USB containing all the files containing all the files that who has the most to the least. Which Izuku, obviously, because he won the sports festival, he having the most votes, and everybody was a little bit wasn't shocked, but Bakugo was the one feeling salty about this because Bakugo is Bakugo. So yeah. But Bakugo was feeling salty about this and all of that because Bakugo only got two no it's two three internships, and Todoroki got about a 50, if I remember, 50, yeah, 50, because of, they saw potential in him, in the power that he has. And Izuku, well, because he's the winner, and obviously because of, with with uh with with you going to nurture or internship your the person that won the whole entire sports festival, that would have a lot of popularity amongst you when that certain hero becomes famous one day. So you would be, in the spotlight as well of nurturing this boy to become this magnificent hero, which a lot of people, picked Izuku for that. But well, that's not my case to do. But um after that, they start to, say that uh, who do you think you're going to internship with, and everybody goes the same with canon. But the only parts that I'm really confused about, not really confused, but gonna give me a hard time is all the Infinite Stratos girls is because first off, they're not from this world. So I think they would be in the yeah, I think they would go to Maya's class. Yeah, to Maya, because Maya in this one became a as well as a teacher. She became a hero, which she was dubbed as the what's it called? She became the battle robot hero. No, not the battle robot. The battle suit hero. Let's see. She is called as Mystique. Yeah, Mystique. Or yeah, I know it's from another series, but I can't come up with something that would match Maya's personality for that particular IS. So yeah, and I don't really know what Maya's original, like her personal IS is, because it wasn't shown in the anime. So I have no clue. But well, Izuku was walking around campus, and All Might talks to him and asks, "Young Midoriya, can we eat?" Essentially, and they went to the teachers' lounge and talked about who who Izuku's going to be, instructor or mentor should would be. Which All Might said that I know the person that uh, taught me. His name was Gran Torino, which was he actually gave an invitation to you, which Izuku was very ecstatic about this because the person that taught All Might is going to teach him, and that's the reason why he's very ecstatic about it. Which Izuku says, "I will accept All Might because that there is a reason why he teach you and you became the person you are today." Which yeah, he actually wrote on his paper Gran Torino, even though Gran Torino doesn't have an agency and stuff. So yeah, which sorry about that, sorry. And yeah, when they are going to to their respective agencies, quote unquote, they eventually arrive. They all separated. Izuku going to Gran Torino's, but my his girlfriends, including Maya as well as Shifuyu, they're very they're like parting ways and saying that we'll miss you. And Izuku just it's just a week, come on guys. And they just says that it's still a week. It's that's long still. Which which Izuku just says, just be safe, girls, okay? If you're going to be become heroes just like me, just be safe, please. Which the girls just says, shouldn't we say that to you, Izuku? Which Izuku just chuckles, nervously saying, yeah, sorry, sorry for making you guys worry so much about me. Which they just says, it's our job to worry about you. You're our boyfriend after all. Which yeah, which eventually they kissed they all kissed Izuku, and eventually they separated to their respective agencies. Which when Izuku arrived in to the complex of Gran Torino, like I presume it was a complex, but to Gran Torino's house, he saw Gran Torino on the floor lying with quote unquote blood, which Izuku was in a panic, because not really in a panic. He's calm, but he rushed into the situation just to check that if the guy is dead. But he was in the safe distance when he was walking. He asked Rio, can you scan him, please, if he is alright? Which Rio says affirmative. And he's and Rio scans Gran Torino's body and says that he is still alive. That is ketchup. That is ketchup, Izuku. Which Izuku just says thanks, Rio. Which when he went up to him, when Izuku went up to Gran Torino, he just says to Gran Torino, sir, you're not fooling anyone with that. Which Gran Torino just says, you have a sharp eye, you young whippersnapper. Sorry that I used that line, but yeah, I really like that line. So yeah, Gran Torino just says that, you have a sharp eye, you young whippersnapper. Which Izuku just says, thank you, Mr. Gran Torino. Which Gran Torino just says that, please just call me Gran Torino. That's my father. Uh, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But Gran Torino just says that just call me Gran Torino. Which when he went to pack up his not really pack up but put away his stuff, Gran Torino just says I'm gonna be testing your skills. Which Izuku just gets ready in a fighting stance without his hero costume. Gran Torino was a little bit confused why he didn't put on his hero costume, and Izuku just says that, well, in every situation you cannot be always in your hero costume when you are going to be a hero. You're sometimes when you're outside and duty calls, you don't have your hero suit, you have to deal with it. Which Gran Torino was very, very proud that he actually caught on to that test, because I think Gran Torino would test Izuku if he would, take time first to, get his suit first, then go to the seat of the crime. But because of this, he passed one of the tests that Gran Torino did or had prepared for Izuku, which Gran Torino's then let's begin. Gran Torino bouncing off the walls, like he did in the anime. Uh, Very, very erratic, and luckily Izuku was dodging everything. Which Izuku says, one full cowling, 20%. Which, sorry for the loud noise, by the way, guys, sorry. But yeah, Izuku essentially Izuku used 20% of one for all, and actually bounced against Gran Torino and actually hit him a few times, which luckily didn't cause that much damage, because Izuku dialed it down a bit so that it wouldn't be more destructive. Which luckily Izuku didn't break anything this time. Unlike the anime, they broke everything in the anime. But yeah, that's not me to judge. But Gran Torino says to Izuku that, well, you young whippersnapper have you have a talent. You actually mastered 20% of one for all. Which Izuku just correction, sir. I actually mastered 100% of one for all. Which Gran Torino was shocked that Izuku mastered that power within just a year, or get no just a within a year. And Izuku just says, well, not technically a year, sir. I actually managed when I first arrived to UA. He explains that the events that he went through and the abilities that he gained throughout his journey, uh, which Gran Torino just was in complete shock because of this, and says that, oh, okay, So you gain battle experience from everything that you have gone through, and still you're still young and you still want to learn a lot. Wow, you really are, let's just say, hungry for knowledge. Which Izuku just says, well, to be fair, sir, I always want to be prepared in every kind of situation, even though it's, kind of useless sometimes. It's always best to be prepared. Which Gran Torino just says, "Yep, I agree with you there." Which their training for the whole week was actually quite good. Gran Torino giving him tips to be more um explosive about his quirk, and actually learning about some new techniques, like not really techniques, but fighting styles. Which Izuku, yes, Izuku uses his legs as well as his hands, and he essentially says that to Gran Torino within half of the training that they did, saying that I really need to learn, Gran Torino, I really need to learn a few more fighting styles to, combat any kind of situation. Which Gran Torino says, well, I can agree with you there. You're kinda rely too much on your, on your weapons. What if your weapons were not around? So I would say I would teach you how to do some, um, to do some martial arts. I actually know a friend of mine that actually is actually great in martial arts, which which and the next day Gran Torino called somebody and they heard the doorbell ring, which when Izuku sees this person, he was in he was being belittled. Not really belittled by, I mean by, he has this presence that saying that, oh, you mess with me, you're dead, essentially. That presence. And he essentially was very really, shocked about this, because he is tall, and I really mean tall is tall. Which which he asked, "Sir, why are you here?" Which which the guy just says that, "Well, I'm here to meet with my friend Gran Torino. He said that I would be training someone." Which Gran Torino says, "Oh, finally, Yujiro, you came here." Yes, Yujiro Hanma. Yes, yes, I made it to where that Yujiro, well, is an instructor here, and he's actually quite nice. To be fair, not like in the anime. So because I really need Izuku to learn a little bit more martial arts, so to not be more, let's just say, easy to predictable. So yeah, so the ogre, or should I say, Yujiro, he gained that title from being, in martial arts tournaments and stuff. Which yeah, so which Gran Torino says, this is the person that I was talking about, that you're going to be helping me to train with martial arts. Which Yujiro just looks at Izuku and says, you have a lot of compact muscle. You should learn capoeira, because you're using your legs too so much, as well as taekwondo, and as well as karate and kung fu, or not really, not kung fu, yeah, kung fu. I would recommend dragon style in your practices. Which Izuku starts to, train for the rest of this training, and actually Yujiro being surprised that he, adapted to them quite quickly, and learning capoeira easily, because capoeira is more of a dance, so I would think that Izuku would have a difficult time, but Yeah, capoeira is just like a dance, so I would think that yeah, Izuku would have a difficult time learning that because in the anime he would be so stiff. But yeah, and learning karate as well as taekwondo, kung fu, dragon style, which he actually on the final day of training, yeah, training before Gran Torino's final test to see what to give him more experience, he actually has to face Yujiro, which he asked Yujiro Sensei, what are we allowed to use our quirks? Which Yujiro just says, quirks? No, I I don't have a quirk, so it would be unfair if you use a quirk against a non-quirked person. Which Izuku says, okay, wait, you're quirkless? Which Izuku asks Yujiro, and Yujiro just says, yes, I am quirkless. And yes, I know that you're quirkless once before. Which I'm actually proud that you gained this power. You actually have a good heart, Izuku. I can see why Toshinori chose you to be his successor. I can really see that now. But your final test is to face against me and actually beat me, which they go to a fighting ring or to the underground fighting ring to fight because yeah, this is going to be a bloody fight, which they fight, and Izuku using capoeira first, using his kicks as well as his his kicks and his kicks and body to do more damage, and using karate, taekwondo, as well as um, dragon style in kung fu. But what Yujiro didn't know is that Izuku learned a new, well, essentially a new technique. Well, not really a new technique, but he learned while Izuku wasn't there. Izuku learned one more technique or one more fighting style, and that is Wing Chun. Izuku learned Wing Chun, and which yeah, which Yujiro was actually quite surprised that Izuku learned Wing Chun and quite rapidly, because Wing Chun was mostly used by Bruce Lee, one of his friends before his passing. May he rest in peace. But yeah, he actually um he actually fought Bruce Lee and stuff, and he's like Izuku to Yujiro was like fighting a Bruce Lee times 10. No, not times 100, because Izuku when he's fighting, he's always calculating everything. So he essentially looks at everything, every angle, every single micrometer that you do, and he acts upon it, which eventually he won. And Yujiro just says, well, kid, you I should give you the title of strongest man alive, no, strongest creature alive. Which Izuku just says, sir, you're giving me too much praise, Yujiro sensei. Which Yujiro just says, stop it, the sensei, come on, Izuku. Even though I'm your teacher, I consider you as my friend, a good person to, fight, fight as well as to teach. So thank you for that. And Izuku just says, well, I really don't deserve the title of strongest creature. Which Yujiro just counters that and says, you do deserve it. You defeat me. I actually have two titles. The one, Ogre, when Gran Torino said it, and the strongest creature a lot, the strongest creature, and because you beating me, you gain that title, which which Izuku just says that it's truly an honor be your to be your disciple, Yujiro, which eventually not Yujiro, Izuku and Gran Torino went back to Gran Torino's apartment, which Yujiro was looking at them and says that he's going to have a bright future, right, Baki? Which Baki just appears there and says that yeah, he will. But yeah, I can see why you said that he's the strongest creature alive. I can see how he fights, and he can actually beat me within a fight. I can see it. Which Izuku, which Yujiro says to Baki, saying, "I really, I really hope that the future of the Hero Society, is going to be, good in the future. But yeah, it's not yet decided." Which, Baki just says that same to you, Dad. Same. Which Gran Torino says that tomorrow we're going to for patrol in Hosu City. Which Izuku just said, okay, to get more experience, right, Gran Torino? Which Gran Torino just says, yes, we are going there to get more experience. Which the very next day they went to Hosu City at night to check crime, if there are crimes there. They took the train to Hosu City, but unlucky for them, Anomu came in and destroyed the train. But Gran Torino fought the Nomu and Izuku, which Gran Torino just is, Izuku, protect the civilians, and if there are many other people that need saving, protect them as well. Which Izuku just says, hi. Which Izuku evacuated the civilians to a safe place and went to in the city of Hosu, which there are a lot of Nomus, and he was actually wondering, oh, what happened. Which if you remember, what happened is that Ida, the Ida incident, which one of the heroes was saying, Ida, where are you? Which he just Izuku just, Ida, which he was actually looking around to where Ida is, which he calls all of his girlfriends as well as Todoroki for help, because I think while he was in training, he saw the news about Ingenium being injured by the hero killer. So I think Ida is going to do a death wish for, yeah, essentially doing a suicide mission. Which yeah, Izuku called up everybody and they said, go to Hosu and I need to find Ida. I'm gonna send you my location after you guys after I find Ida. Could you guys arrive there as well? Which all of them, including Izuku's girlfriends as well as Todoroki, said, sure, sure, Izuku. Which eventually they went to Hosu City, which there were a lot of Nomus when Izuku's girlfriends come into Hosu City. Maya just says, protect the civilians, everyone, protect the civilians, which Hoki and everybody else says, hi, which they protect everybody, every civilian out there, and uh, went them to safety, which eventually Izuku, with that time, finds Ida, and Izuku gives them the location, and everybody says we're going there immediately. Which Izuku before Ida was going to get stabbed in the chest, Izuku, throws a blade using, one of his um, floating blades. He throws a blade to Stain, and he actually he actually deflects the sword that was going to pierce Ida's chest, which the hero killer just says, "Gambare, gambare." Well, you have a friend with you. Sorry, but which Izuku just says, "Why are you killing heroes so much?" Which the hero killer explains everything that he said in canon, saying that the hero society was false and the true hero is only All Might. Which Izuku just says, well, that's true, but not every hero is corrupted like everybody thinks they are. Yes, there are a lot of heroes that are searching for fame, but we future heroes want nothing but not just fame, but gratitude from everybody that we give from them. I personally just want to be a hero just to save people, because I don't want people to experience what I experienced when I was a kid, which yeah, with the heartwarming speech. And eventually the hero killer starts to fight Izuku, saying that I'm still a villain and I'm still the hero killer, so I'm gonna kill you. Which which he tries to attack Izuku, which Izuku was very fast and all of that, and eventually Todoroki and everybody else arrived, and Izuku just says to everyone, saying that, guys, can you help Ida? He's bleeding. He's bleeding so much from his arms. He might die from blood loss. Which they say hi, and they start treating Ida. They, they start treating Ida, and Todoroki was was helping Izuku, which Izuku just says, "Nice one, Todoroki. Freeze him now." Which Todoroki freezes Stain, and Izuku just says that, "You're under arrest, Stain. You're under arrest, hero killer. You have done a lot of crimes." And they, which this was on screen, or at a live. Izuku, Izuku telling about his story, as well as stating why Hero Society is bad. Which yeah, which which the hero killer, before he was being captured, it was still alive, and saying that you heroes are worthy to be called heroes. Which he was talking to Izuku, Todoroki, and Izuku's girlfriends, as well as Maya. Which yeah, he eventually they eventually take Stain out, and they just every hero was going to be every hero was quite impressed that Izuku defeated the hero killer by him, not yet by with Todoroki. Which Endeavor, the police tried to say that Endeavor will take the credit, which Izuku did as well. Gran Torino said to me that, I can protect the civilians if I need, if there need be. Which Gran Torino vouched for this and said that, yes, I said that to him. Help anyone in need. Which, as you can see, that boy was in need of help. Which Maya just says that, yes, that's the same with us. We intended to help him, and he actually called us for backup if ever there was more people that are going to fight. Which yeah, which Izuku took the credit for this, and actually gained a lot of attention from heroes to his from all over Japan, as well as his school. And they eventually went back home to to be with their families. And Izuku said to Gran Torino, thank you, Gran Torino, for training me and teaching me a lot of the ways to use One for All correctly, as well as thank you for getting me to know Yujiro, and letting him teach me ways of martial arts, which Gran Torino just says it's no problem. Which Izuku says one more thing and says, "Can you say thank you for Yujiro for me, Gran Torino?" Which Gran Torino just says, "Yeah, I will do that." Which Izuku went back home when when went back home to his house, or you could say mansion, and he sees his mom, and his mom literally crushes him to a bone breaking hug and says, "My baby boy, you're all right. Nothing is hurt. Nothing. You don't have a scratch. You don't have a you don't have a boo boo." Which Izuku just says, "Mom, I'm fine. Don't worry." Which Inko just says, I was so worried about you, Izuku." Which Izuku just, "Yes, I know, Mom. Sorry for worrying you so much." Which uh which Inko just says, I wasn't the only one that was worried about you, Izuku. Your girlfriends as well are worried about you." Which which Izuku's girlfriends says that yes, we are, or the Infinite Stratos girls are saying that simultaneously, and eventually, hugged Izuku, and that's where I'm gonna be leaving it off. Sorry guys if the story is a little bit jagged and I stuttered a lot, and for introducing two more characters from different series, from different series to be Izuku's teacher in this one. I'm I'm really sorry for the story if it's uh is a little bit bland, you could say. I'm really sorry for that, but I hope you enjoy this series. And like I always say, like, comment, subscribe, and see you guys later. Bye.